Hello, my name is Gerstein, and my presentation is on LGBT materials in libraries and classrooms. Um, when we think of multicultural materials, often we think of different ethnicities, whether it be African American, Asian American, Latino, but it's important not to forget about LGBT materials because those are just as important in terms of diversity and inclusivity when we're thinking about multicultural materials in libraries or classrooms. LGBT youth are at a greater risk for physical and mental health issues, and I think that the library can be a wonderful safe space for individuals identifying as LGBT. I think it would be helpful to give a brief history of gay rights because it's good to have a context for this. Gay rights were pretty much non-existent until the mid-20th century. The American Psychiatric Association's diagnostic manual listed homosexuality as a sociopathic personality disturbance. In 1969, we had the famous Stonewall riots at the Stonewall Inn in New York City. After protests and demonstrations began, it became known as the impetus for the gay civil rights movement in the United States. In 1978, Harvey Milk became San Francisco City Supervisor, the first openly gay man to be elected to political office. And in 1978, inspired by Harvey Milk, Gilbert Baker designed and stitched together the first rainbow flag, which has become a symbol for the LGBT community. Finally, in 2015, the Supreme Court ruled 5-4 to essentially legalize same-sex marriage in the United States. So that was a huge deal, of course. Some people think it's controversial for homosexual materials to appear in a library, but that doesn't be the case. In a study in the United Kingdom, it was determined that most library staff actually had a positive attitude towards including such materials, and that it was not considered too controversial. It's important to include LGBT materials for even young children, of course, in an age-appropriate manner. The first book, really, that did this was Heather Has Two Mommies, which was published in 1989. The story, according to Wikipedia, is about a child Heather raised by lesbian women, her biological mother Jane and her biological mother's same-sex partner Kate. And at Heather's playgroup, her family's situation is as simply and positively as are those of other children in other family units. Another book for young children of an LGBT theme was And Tango Makes Three, which was released in 2005, and it's the true story of two gay penguins who were given an egg by the zookeeper in the Central Park Zoo in New York. They took turns sitting on the egg, and eventually it hatched, and the two penguins took care of the chick, who was a female named Tango, just like any other penguin parents would. Now, this book was frequently challenged after it was released. There were cases resulting in retainment. Parents of students at Shiloh Elementary School in Illinois requested that the book be replaced in a restricted section of the library and for the school to require parental permission. However, the superintendent of the school district resolved to keep the book freely available. However, the book was censored in some other school districts, such as Savannah, Missouri, where parents objected to the book's placement at the Rolling Hills Consolidated Library, and the book was moved to nonfiction instead. Of course, There are a great deal of LGBT-themed books available these days for young adults, and the Rainbow Book List, which is a list that exists sponsored by the Gay, Lesbian, Bisexual, and Transgender Round Table under the auspices of the American Library Association, released a list of, in 2015, the Rainbow Book List, which is a bibliography of books with significant gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender content. The committee members evaluated over 140 books and came up with this list, including juvenile fiction, young adult fiction, young adult nonfiction, graphic novel nonfiction, and also picture books. So we can see that a great deal of progress has been made in this field, so that we actually have a lot available for educators. In conclusion, in classrooms and libraries, it's very important to have LGBT materials available, and the teaching of LGBT books must not be apolitical. We need to be upfront about the issue, and many high school teachers who have been trained in the matter have found that they have been very successful in teaching LGBT books. And that's my presentation. Thank you.